So what I did was I started thinking of my boss as a son, and as though I were mother, because that's really what you've taught me over the years, is that we're mothers, and we should really see people from that perspective. And so I stopped looking at the situation from the negativity that was coming from him, and started looking at the situation from his perspective in terms of what was his sensitivities and what was his issues. And so I started just seeing him as an older person that was probably um, dealing with the fact that he didn't like the fact I had so much energy and so much creativity and so many things like that. So I didn't I didn't buy into all of that negative stuff, and I just really started treating him the way I would my own son. And it totally uh, turned the situation around. And I got the project back.
Wonderful. So here's a chance where she had put together an interesting package and project. Someone else was getting credit for it. Ego just jumped right in, but she was able to wade through, walk through it, and later, found some solace. Someone else? Time to cross ego and intrude it. And was that conscious at first? Yes.
The mic. It was.
Because the false ego definitely sabotages. It doesn't always just confront us in the right way.
It actually happened like with greed, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. I have my own company, and I was doing the marketing, and this one person at this agency said, well, the thing is, since it's a new company, we can't really do this, but I have an idea. You can just lie a bit about it, and no one's going to know, and we give you the contract, and no big deal. I was very excited, obviously, because greed was all over me. All I could see is the dollar signs, I mean, literally. And I said, okay, well, let's work on it starting tomorrow. However, that night before going to bed, it's like, things running in my mind, like, have I lost my mind? Why would I want to lie? I said, how does greed could just take over my mind that I couldn't even face the situation and say that, no, it's wrong and I shouldn't lie about it? And so I called him up the next morning, and I said, listen, if you want to give it to me on the grounds that are the facts that I've laid out to you on the table, I'll appreciate it, but there's no way I'm going to lie about it and get around it. So it was really taken over in a big way.
So here's a case where initially there was a reflection of giving in, but then due to character principle-centered reflection and concern, she realized that no, I'm not going to be defeated in this way. Anyone else? Having the false ego had intruded. At first you were considering or had become possessed by it, but later was able to throw it away, throw it off. Anyone else? Any last one? Let's have one more. It's in back.
Yes, I was approached by someone, actually a client of mine, to sell and promote a product, and it was a product that, well, I had to think about it, and I had to ask myself eventually, and I had to discuss it with a couple of people, because that's how it was creeping in. And then I had to ask myself, was it something I could offer Guru or Krishna? And it was not. So eventually I didn't sell the product.
So again, ways how we can avoid being defeated by the false ego is not to jump too fast into situations without proper reflection, introspection. What we look at is it the highest thing we can do at that given time? Is it something that will add to the principles that we want to live by? Is it in line with some of the role models that we have? Is it in line with the scriptures that we're reading? Is it really in line with the ultimate goals that we want to be about? And some cases we see that. We just have to be a little bit more introspective and have an arsenal. What you're really showing with us is how you're able to use an arsenal, a particular weapon, to defeat a negative weapon. Now we have this series, Spiritual Warrior, which is the idea that spiritual warriors are not fighting with conventional weapons, unconventional battlefields. The battlefield is a battlefield of consciousness, and the consciousness is being constantly attacked. These are some of the enemies that's attacking it. That we constantly see our lives in a situation where there are opportunities for victory and opportunities for failure or for become wounded or become a casualty. If we're attentive like that, then each situation when we deal with someone, we're trying to see, now how can I target it? How can I be able to reach this particular goal so that it will be beneficial for myself, for the person, for the environment? When we just do things as they happen, when they happen, we'll be very much influenced by the general mundane orthodox culture sweeping the planet. It's so much based on separation, conscious of separation, much based on the conscience of exploitation. As we are having an arsenal of love, of devotion, of passion, of righteousness, of selflessness, then when you have such an arsenal available, it's easy to pull off this one, pull off that one, when we are conscious of the fact that we need to use these for our protection. We cover our conscience with a shield of love, and so many negative things will not intrude. When they do try to come close, we will see them and be able to sidestep them. In some cases, be able to elevate them. But if we are just accepting, normally people are more prone for deviation. Normally people are more prone just to follow the fads, follow the normative patterns. If we analyze and look close at anyone who's been really successful, whether it's materially or spiritually, they have been ready to go outside of just the orthodox scheme. They have some idea, some insight, some intuition, and they're ready to carry it out. See, the successful people are not people who just go with the flow. They do not, of course, watch things happen, but they are able to make things happen. And they see constant each situation as opportunity. So when we allow these enemies to sneak in on us by not being properly focused with vision and with certain healthy goals, enemies will attack. And if we're not careful, not only will they be attacking, but they'll continually attack, and we'll even be unaware of devastating effects that they're having on us. Most people, this is what's happening. From day to day, they are prisoners, particularly to their minds. And their actions constantly manifest that of one who is incarcerated by envy, by anger, by lust, by illusion, by greed, and by madness. We want to look at it. We enter this new year, how we can become more and more free men and women who can be involved in conscious raising. There's so much unconscious on the planet now, of combative kind of energy, and it has to do with individuals' consciousness that's aggregating, adding up, that's creating a culture of violence, and a culture of fear, and a culture of exploitation. In order to counteract that, individuals need to change within of themselves. So we're looking at how to change ourselves. Can we have one last one? Let us stop there. Okay, now what we want to do, I don't have time today, but tomorrow I'm going to do ego chair. My president comes in, maybe we'll have ego chair today. Okay, what the ego chair is a little But let me just mention how, like in the Bhagavad Gita, it shares the analogy of the senses being like horses. Body itself being it's like a chariot, and each sense, eye, nose, each sense is a different horse. Consider that any one horse that gets too wild or goes off course or starts bucking can pull the whole chariot off course. The reins, the ropes, are what? The mind. And so it's like the mind is controlling the senses. The tendency that the senses or the horses will respond to the environment. Sometimes all of them may get wild, sometimes one becomes more dominant, but it doesn't matter. Whether it's one or there's many, the chariot will have trouble and even go off the cliff. Especially if the reins, the mind, is not sufficiently being able to control the horses. But the mind is influenced by the intelligence, and then we have the driver, who is the soul. So the mind will normally just give in to the pull of the sense or the horse if it is not backed up, if it is not sufficiently strong. So one of the ways that we allow some of the enemies from attacking is to keep our intelligence sharp, to keep our intelligence spiritualized. Then what happens is that even when the attack is like when the immune system is weak, physical or spiritual immune system, more likelihood that there will be intrusion. So we keep the intelligence fixed by absorption and transit of knowledge. Keep our intelligence fixed by being able to sometimes separate our senses and our mind from thinking that it is ourselves to its entirety. Often, people give in to these enemies or give in to the false ego because they identify the false ego as themselves. They give in to these intrusions because they see it as a friend. Yes, the mind can be our friend after we understand how to deal with the deviations, after we bring it under control, after we're able to minimize or eliminate the false ego. So we're going to end after one reading with a meditation where we're going to look at separating the false ego, allowing ourselves to address it, and to find a healthy way to release it so that we get in the habit of knowing how we can free it from ourselves, from occupying our consciousness, and when it does, how to find quicker ways to put it at a point where it is not a disturbance. So, the soul is there, and that's our real essence. But the soul is somewhat in the background. It's responsible for consciousness, but as long as the intelligence is not taking advantage of the soul's presence, and the mind is giving in to the senses, the false ego is enthroned. We read that we want to deal with real ego and not the false ego. Now, just to help us, this exercise we're going to do in freeing the mind, we want to read very brief, very quick, Meditation 3. Look in your book on Meditation 3. You see, in some of the writings of the Goswamis, some of the writings of great saints, that often they will address the mind, they will speak to the mind like it's a different person. I've written on, before we go to page 33, you'll see on page 9, and in your own time, try to examine these. There are 10 different types of prayers. There can be 10 different types of prayers that Vaishnavas normally make. Those who are trying to have a deeper and deeper personal relationship with the Lord and experience the spiritual realm. Now, the first type is called words of direct prayer to the Lord, and we'll go through it real quick. The second, words informing the Lord, I'm reading only the English, of one's humility. Third, instructions to one's own mind. Fourth, statements of extreme lamentation. 5, statements revealing the glories of the Lord's devotees. 6, supplications made to one's spiritual master or to the devotees of the Lord.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.